This is a perfect example of a woman who lacks self-awareness, or who lacks awareness, more specifically, lacks awareness of what men actually want. And it's very common, right? We often do this. We often assume that what we want is what other people want. And this is what this woman has done here, right? This was in the context of something else, but here she is kind of bragging about how she's super high value woman and not used up, essentially, is what she's getting at, which good for her for that. But what she's failing to do is understand actually what men want, because these things that she listed, most men don't care about at all. And I figured, let's go through this one on one. I just want to point out these are things that she cares about, right? These are things that she looks for in a man, which is fine, right? She's more than entitled to want a tall man, to want an attractive man who's sporty, those sorts of things. She wants, what she's doing is she's thinking like, these are the things that I find attractive. So therefore, a man will find this attractive in me. Total misunderstanding on her part. So let's go through this, and I'll try to help her with this at the very end. First, she says, I'm single. Now, women, according to any man with half a brain, all women are at all points in a superposition of being single and not single at the same time. Now, what does this mean? It essentially means at any given moment, you could have a boyfriend if you want. There is at least 5 guys in your inbox hitting you up. So the notion that you are totally not single and totally alone, this is false. Now, even if you do have a boyfriend, one, most importantly, even if you do have a boyfriend, nobody cares. I don't care. No man really cares unless your boyfriend can hurt me, right? So if your boyfriend is a cop, yes, I care about that. Or some thug gangster or whatever. But if your boyfriend is, some dork, then it doesn't really matter, especially if I'm only trying to bed you, right? If I'm looking for a long-term relationship, yeah, I'm not gonna enter into a long-term relationship with a girl that I convinced to cheat on her boyfriend with me. That's just not going to happen. Some guys have lower standards than me, but, let's get back to the main point here. So, you being single is a moot point. Has no bearing on anything. You may have well said, the sky is blue above my house. It would have had, it would have had that same impact. Single, not single, same thing for a woman. You either do, in fact, have a boyfriend who cares from a man's point of view, unless your boyfriend is dangerous, or you have a bunch of orbiters who you are entertaining to some degree, and in which case your singlehood is a matter of holding out for a better option. So does it matter? Single, not single, superposition of both. Pointless to state that you are single. Okay, next one, 30 years old. 30 years old. Now, we both know what I'm going to say. The audience knows what I'm going to say. I don't even have to say it. You're 30. Continuing on. Tall. Oh, God. Nobody cares if you're tall as a woman. Doesn't matter. I guess if you're a man who's obsessed with having tall children, maybe that would be a factor. But otherwise, no man is being like, ooh, she's tall, she's extra high. If anything, you come off as intimidating, and you're actually intimidating men away from you by being tall and by trying to flex that. Okay, continuing on, again, this is just illustrating here how your perception of your sexual market value is in fact based on the qualities that you deem valuable in men, when in reality, men don't value those same qualities in women. So no man cares about if you're tall, or very few do. And insofar as they do, probably more find it something that pushes them away. So again, it's great to be tall. congratulations. Nobody really cares. Okay, next thing, pretty hot. Now, I've already said going to the basics, like you're 30. I'm not going to talk about your actual physical appearance in your profile picture because I've redacted that for your own privacy concerns. You're welcome. But to the point, women like to blow each other up, blow steam up each other's ass. Oh, girl, sexy, hot bitch, yada, yada, yada. This is not true. They are lying. It's all maintaining a vibe. Women have absolutely no idea what is hot to men, or very little idea. They're able to respond to how men treat them. But then what you get today is you get kind of like modern media, which promotes women like Rihanna, who are incredibly ugly. Let's just say that. So women get tricked into thinking that Rihanna is attractive whenever she's not. Like, it's just not happening. So there's that. So women generally like blow each other up. Ooh, bitch, you're hot, sexy bitch. But they only do this with their ugly friends, right? If you are truly attractive on a let's say a top 10% basis, you are intimidating to other women, and it hurts their ego to admit that you are attractive. So they will never compliment you in that case. Or if they do, it will be like in this kind of like throwing shade sort of way. Like, oh, it must be so easy for you because you're so, blah, 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 blah. This kind of spiteful, backhanded compliment sort of thing. So if women are telling you that you are hot, sexy, whatever, they're just doing that because they're your friend. It's not true. It's actually, it's not even that hard of a concept to understand from the outside looking in, but it's the vibe. You got a vibe going on where, ooh, we sexy, yada, yada, yada. But in reality, right, that's all in your head. And this is the same thing. It's like if a man were to tell you, hey, I'm charismatic, it's the same thing as you telling us that you're pretty hot. Hey, I'm pretty charismatic. I'm like, you would laugh at me. You would roll your eyes. So, again, there's a distinct lack of awareness in this comment. Next thing, smart. Okay. You might be smart. You might have a PhD and whatever, but nobody cares. Men don't care. There's never, like if you're looking for a long-term partner, right, you don't want somebody who's hyper infantile and is going to raise your children to be stupid. So you might have like a threshold that a girl needs to get above. But no man has ever been sleeping with one woman and then fantasizing about sleeping with another woman who is smarter. Just simply does not happen. Men don't care about that. A man has never pulled out and busted all over a pretty master's degree in psychology or whatever. This is, again, oh, I'm smart, that makes me valuable. So here's what's going on here is women are attracted to intelligence in men, but only as a proxy for other things. Because if you're smart as a man, that must implicate that either, it essentially implicates you have status, because you would either afford to go to a nice school, or in the future, you will have a high income. You'll be able to land a status, high income job. So for women, they see as intelligence in men as an attractive thing because it implicates these other things. Men just don't care. We just don't want you to give us retarded children, essentially. That's, if you get over that baseline, okay, we're good. You don't have to, you don't need to be smart. Nobody cares. Again, most men just simply don't care. Okay, I'm sorry that has to be told to you. I'm sure at this point you're like, there's some tension going on and you're like, oh my God, this is hurting my feelings, but it needs to be said. Okay, speak English well, yeah, I guess, it depends on the guy. Again, some guys will be into that. Some guys will find that necessary, right? Because they don't speak your language. In which case, I pity them because you'll be able to wrap them around your little pinky You'll be living here where they have to rely on you to do everything. But that's another thing. So you speaking English, I guess that would appeal to a certain kind of man who doesn't want to bother with learning Vietnamese. That's okay. So whatever. I don't care about that. Play sports. Love traveling. Again, this is something that men simply don't care about. Uh, I guess if you're looking for a buddy, if you want a friend, yeah, find somebody who likes to play sports and loves traveling. I don't need my girlfriend to play sports with me and traveling. I don't. It's nice if she likes to hike. A woman is very rarely going to be more rugged than a man when it comes to traveling. There are some women who are. Now, there's a bell curve here. There are definitely some women who are more rugged than some men. But generally speaking, that's not something that's going to make you come across as more feminine, those sorts of things. And again, all of this is you taking the qualities that you like in men and thinking, well, men must like this too. So I'm going to fit this mold. And then I'm going to wonder why I can't find a boyfriend or a decent boyfriend that ticks my boxes. Fundamental misunderstanding. It would be like if I was like, well, I'm very demure and I'm very quiet and I'm very polite and I'm very sensitive and sweet and I like to take care of you, and if I, and that makes me sound like a pussy, right? On a certain level, like, yeah, that might appeal to a certain aspect of a woman. She might, well, I want that nice, comfortable, reliable boyfriend. But most women are gonna, that kind of dehydrates the loins a little bit to hear a man talk about how soft and feminine he is. So, is again just that fundamental misunderstanding. So let's get back into this. Loyal. Now this is the one where you got it right? Because generally men are concerned about a woman sleeping around. Like they don't want to devote resources to raising a child which isn't actually theirs. They don't want to spend years of their life doing so and then having to go through a messy divorce, yada, yada, yada. Even if it's not a messy divorce, right? There's no real great divorce. Like, oh, we have a kid together and I get to see my kid half as much as I would otherwise. Great. Yay. Nobody says that, right? So you want somebody who's stable and loyal. So you got that one right. That is good. So recently got out of a long-term relationship, haven't banged anyone since. Good for you. I'm not, I sound harsh. I don't think you're a bad person or even a stupid person. You might be smarter than me, quite honestly. But this is definitely a blind spot that you had and probably likely have if you haven't made it this far to this video. So yeah, I would say you could definitely rephrase this to highlight some of the areas that would be more attractive to men, right? So loyalty is one of those, especially if you're looking for a long-term relationship, right? Loyalty, are you a healthy person? Smart, maybe you rephrasing that is pragmatic and practical because you don't want a man doesn't want a woman who's going to make terrible decisions and ruin his life and make his life harder, right? So, oh, I'm loyal, I'm athletic, I'm healthy, I take care of my body. Honestly, 30 years old, you're not going to get over that hump, right? That's just what it is. But you can mitigate that by highlighting your gentle, caring, nurturing side, as well as your approach to wellness and health and taking care of yourself. Highlighting your empathy, your good with kids, those sorts of things. So good for you for not being a turbo slut, I suppose. But definitely be a little bit more reasonable with understanding what other people are wanting so that you can make yourself valuable to them and secure the sort of mate that you feel is good enough for you. So I hope that helps and good luck. You're welcome.